Alright, so long story short, as you can see, we have a special circumstance in our living room because we have the TV above the fireplace, and I know a lot of you are against that. I get it, but it's literally one of the only places we could put it because it's a Samsung frame TV, so we wanted to have it look like a piece of art when it's not in use. We have a conduit that goes from behind the TV down to over here, where we have this shelf set up with all of our equipment inside of it. So that way it's real clean. There's no wires going on top of here or down the side like we had when we first moved in, because I originally had the Sony HT-AX715 up here. But the only downside of that is that you've got to have it plugged into power all the time. So the nearest outlet is way on the side over here or way on the side over here. So when Sony sent me the HT-AX7, I was really excited because I knew it was battery powered that you can charge. So that way I can just have the main unit here, the surrounds on the couch, and no other lines coming out, no other cables, no power cord that needs to go anywhere, just a little speaker here and the speakers on the couch. So let's go ahead and set it up so I can do exactly that. All right, so I set up this speaker system a couple of different ways, but what I recommend doing, the easiest way and most efficient way, is to download the app first. Just FYI, it is not the Sony Music Connect app. That is different. This particular one is called the Home Entertainment Connect app. Yeah. So let's download it and get this party started. Ding! There we go. Open. Home Entertainment Connect would like to use your Bluetooth. Okay. Start setup. Agree and start using. Turn on the device. Oh, I didn't even have to do that. So yeah, when you're setting it up, you do want to have the speaker system close by. But as you can see, focus, there we go. It has already found it. Even though the system is currently off, it still recognizes that it is nearby. So all you got to do is tap on that. Boop. Tappity tap tap. Move closer. Can you hear sound? Yes, I can hear sound. Start pairing. Portable theater system can now be operated. Next, let's set up the device to listen to sound. Next, the device is prepared to listen to sound. EJO is my phone. Great work, setup is complete. Boom, painless, easy, done. Receive notifications so you don't miss any important information. Okay, next. Sure. View the tutorial for comfortable use. Later. All right, so let's go ahead and set it up in my living room with the main unit above the fireplace on the mantle and the pucks behind me on either side of this couch. Let's do it. Okay, so let's set this on here in the center. This main unit here. I just love that. No power cord is long enough, so then we would have to get an extension cord, etc. So I really like how I can just put this here, and then I'll tell you more about the battery life when I set it up. But I just like the clean aesthetic of this going on. Is it the most ideal for an actual like sound bar setup where it's connected to your TV and you got a big living room, it's not the best, but trust me, anything is better than the TV speakers. Anything. So even though we're dealing with Bluetooth stereo audio and not Dolby or DTS, like a lot of soundbars do support, in the end, it's still better than the TV speakers. Yeah. All right, before I put one of these surround pucks on the couch, you'll notice that they are labeled. This one says rear left, so that's where I will put it. Put it on the rear left, about there, like so. Then rear right. Yeah, we'll do that, see how it goes. All right, so now that we got it set up and it is surrounding me, let's go over the app a little bit more. Let's dive in a little bit deeper. As you can see at the top, you've got your front, left, and right battery percentages. Before I deleted the app, just so I could redo this step for this video, the left rear puck showed like 80% battery life and the right rear showed 60% for some reason. But the front still showed 40%. I'm filming this on a Monday and I just charged it full battery, put everything where it is now. Friday, so that's, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then today would be the fourth day. I mean, we didn't watch TV constantly, morning until night, but a few hours here, an hour there. My girls watched YouTube animated shows on Saturday. I personally had a pretty lazy Sunday morning yesterday. I played Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for a few hours after I had breakfast. So the fact that this is day 4 and the main unit still has 40% charge, that's pretty good, considering it was maybe 4 to 5 hours on average each day that it was used. So if this is day 4, I'm estimating that it could very well go 6 or 7 days before you need to charge it again. So I do know that having it as an actual soundbar in your living room is probably not the most ideal situation for this particular system, because a lot of the promotional material do show people using it with their mobile devices, their phones, their tablets, laptops, computers, etc., in a more close-knit, tighter, intimate scenario. Because honestly, that is what it was tailored for. That's why it doesn't support Dolby or DTS. That's why it doesn't have HDMI. It is just Bluetooth because it is portable. You can take it with you. So as I said before, let's get into this app a little bit more. You can see night mode. Night mode takes away some of the bass extensions so that it doesn't disturb those who may be sleeping. Sound field is basically the pseudo surround sound experience that you'll get. But if you disable sound field, you can see that the rear level volume is now grayed out, because when you turn the sound field off, it essentially turns off the rear surrounds. Since I want to have surround sound, I'm going to keep the sound field on. Voice mode helps the dialogue a little bit, but once again, like a lot of dialogue enhancement features on soundbars, it can make the overall audio quality sound a little bit tinny. It does boost the frequencies where dialogue sits, but to me, it just sounds a little unnatural. So I personally don't like to have voice mode on. This is the main volume right here in the middle. Right next to it is the mute. Rear levels, they can go all the way down to -10. That's the minimum. And it can go all the way up to +10. That is, as you can see now, it says max. Over the weekend, as I was watching TV and playing Zelda, I did leave the rear level to max. At some points, it did get a little intense, maybe a little bit too loud, but majority of the time, 95% of the time, having it at max, at least in this particular scenario, was great. It was perfect. Bass level, I would normally keep it at +5. Sometimes I would even bring it back down to just 0, just the middle, because sometimes the dialogue came through a bit too bassy when I had the bass up too loud. It kind of depended on what I was watching or playing. But overall, on average, keeping the bass level at 5 was good for me. Let's go into these settings. Bluetooth connection quality, priority on sound quality, or priority on stable connection. Me personally, I like to go with the priority on sound quality. System settings, the unit turns off after 20 minutes. Yeah, I like that. Bluetooth standby, the unit can be controlled on your mobile device even when it is in standby mode. That's great. I like to have that. It's pretty handy. Main unit operations sound. I do personally like to have the sounds activated so that if it does lose connection or when I turn it on, I know that it is on because it gives that little chime. And as far as the brightness of the LED lights that are on the main unit, you can have it bright, dark, or off. System information, there's a software version, software update. Your software is up to date. Cool. Tutorial. Pretty cool how they have little built-in tutorials in the app itself. So instead of having to search online or search on YouTube or something, if you're questioning about how to do something with this particular system, it's good to know that they have little tutorials right here, built in. Help, just a support center with Q&As, FAQs, etc. So as you can see in the top right corner, you can see that the power icon is there. So you can turn this unit on and off through the app as well. That's very handy, especially when, I don't know, you don't want to get up off the couch. So there's the app. Let's go ahead. I'm going to quickly show you how to connect it to the television. All right, we got the TV on. First thing we want to do is put this unit into Bluetooth pairing mode so that the TV can recognize it. All you got to do is hold down. There's this, come on, focus. There's this little Bluetooth button here. You just got to hold it down and then it'll start blinking when it's in pairing mode.
Pairing.
Ooh, and it even says pairing. Did you hear that?
Pairing.
Okay, so then we'll set it back. Go into the menu, settings, all settings, sound, sound output, boink, Bluetooth speaker list, ding, HT-AX7, yay, pair and connect. Ba-bum-bum, awesome. And there you have it. I mean, at least on a Samsung TV, it's just that easy to pair this speaker to the TV. All right, one feature that I do want to mention that I enjoy is that when you're charging the unit as a whole, as you can see, there's contacts up here, some golden contacts. And all you got to do, this little contact target in the middle of the puck, you just place it on there and then it plays a chime. That's how you know that it is connected. And then you can see this orange LED light here. Because a lot of times with particular systems like this, where there's no like firm connection or like a click, the sound at least lets you know that it is connected. So I do appreciate that. So then we can just do the other one. Bum bum. There we go. And then you can see the orange LED on that as well. I do appreciate little things like that that let me know, hey, this is a secure connection and now it is charging. And that is another thing, is that when these pucks are on the main unit, just like your Apple AirPods, when you put them in their charging case, the case itself will charge the AirPods, similar to this. So these pucks are now charging because they are resting on the main unit. So it is drawing power from the main unit to charge them. So I obviously wouldn't recommend doing this all the time, but maybe the pucks lose their power at some point and you just need to put them back on. For the most part, you're going to want to charge the whole unit all at once by plugging it into an outlet with the provided power cord. Oh yeah, one thing I do want to mention is that unfortunately it doesn't automatically connect just when you turn on the TV after you have paired it to the TV. You still need to turn the unit on, but then once the unit is on, the TV recognizes that it's there in the vicinity. So the unit is off, the TV is on. So I'll just turn this on. And then up here, it should prompt me. There you go. Would you like to play TV sound through this device, the HT-AX7? Connect. Boom. And there you go. It's as simple as that. So that's just something you need to be aware of if you do want to use this as a soundbar with your TV. La 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 la. Test. Test. It's very windy. So as I said, I hooked it up on Friday. Today is Monday. Watched lots of content over the weekend. Many different forms of media. One thing that I was very impressed by was the fact that Sony's 360 spatial sound mapping technology was doing a pretty decent job being able to separate or elements that should be in the surrounds rather than just right up front in the main speaker. Sometimes it was only music coming out of the rear speakers. There were situations where I would hear dialogue because on screen you could see the main character listening to somebody who happened to be off screen, and I could only hear their voice behind me coming out of those little surround pucks. So even though it's a Bluetooth stereo source, it was still able to extract that information and put them in 3D space. So that was really cool, but it's not perfect. A lot of times a little bit of the dialogue would end up in the surrounds, which is a little off-putting because then you're dealing with more something like all-channel stereo, right? Where just everything is put in every speaker. But it didn't happen all the time, mostly coming out of the main speaker, but also a little bit behind me. But as far as sound quality goes, I mean, obviously this is a very compact system. So bass response, almost not there. I mean, forget about cinema quality bass extension that you would normally get through a subwoofer. These drivers just aren't that big in this little setup. So yeah, pretty much no bass extension, but honestly, that should be a given. One thing that I wish they would have done, because it's Sony, because a lot of their newer sound bars nowadays have some sort of room calibration software built in that works with their 360 spatial sound mapping. Technically, this does have 360 spatial sound mapping built in, but there's no step within the setup that plays, test tones through the speakers to try and calibrate your room as best as possible. It's just right out of the box. It just does its thing. So maybe future versions of this system will have some sort of true room calibration step that does play test tones and really calibrates everything how it should. Just like when I reviewed their smaller HT-AX715 soundbar, even that had a step where it had to play some tones and map the layout of my living room to make it sound the best. But is it true that it does create a 3D bubble of audio? I would have to say yes. Again, it's not perfect, but there is definitely a sense of immersion, especially when you have those pucks behind you. Although on that note, a lot of the promotional materials maybe will show somebody having it on their bed, where the main speaker is on the bed in front of them, and the surround speakers are right next to them or a little behind them on the bed as well. The sense of immersion was definitely not as pronounced when you had it like that. So I would recommend having the rear surround pucks elevated somehow. Because like when I was listening to it in my living room, they were on the back of my couch, which is, roughly where my chest is. So that's less distance between the puck and my ears. But over the weekend, like say, for example, on Friday night, we had movie night and we watched E.T. because we're trying to slowly introduce our kids to some classics like that. But during E.T., there were some moments where there was some chatter in the background, and it was only coming out of those surround pucks. Again, there were some moments where dialogue in E.T. was coming out of the rear speakers. When my wife and I were watching The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime, there were definitely some really cool moments where I was definitely in the middle of the action. Sound effects and certain elements that should be in the surrounds were coming just primarily out of the surrounds. Even when I was playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, little bird tweets, enemies that just happened to be behind me, sounded like they were behind me. As far as music is concerned, I was pretty disappointed actually, just with the raw audio quality of music. When I played music through the main unit, it sounded like it was coming out of a box. And honestly, that's exactly what my wife said when she heard it too. Because the vocals were a little bit too bass heavy. The highs weren't like crystal clear, Yeah, I mean, that's the best that I can describe it. It kind of sounded boxy. Not so much when you're watching movies and television, mainly when you're listening to music. So yes, because it's a Bluetooth speaker, you can listen to music through it, but I guess just how the main unit is shaped or how small it is or something, I don't know. It's just sounded so boxy. So the main application for this system is to be a portable, easy to set up way to get surround sound on the go, wherever you happen to end up, in a hotel room, in a cabin, hanging out at a park, having a quick movie night in a dorm room. I don't know. But clearly it's meant to work with mobile devices, laptops, etc. Obviously, you can use it in place of a soundbar with your TV, which, by the way, I didn't notice any delay, because a lot of times if you use a Bluetooth speaker with a television, the dialogue might not sync up exactly right, but I didn't get any of that with this system. So that's thumbs up, Sony, for that. So yeah, is this a weird speaker? Yes, but impressive at the same time. I do appreciate the innovation behind such a Bluetooth portable surround sound system like this. It is definitely a step in the right direction for sure. For those in my similar situation where you don't want a lot of cables showing and you just want that real clean aesthetic, I really wish that they implement this same technology into their actual soundbars. Maybe they make an HT-A3000 adjacent version, has a rechargeable battery with removable surround sound speakers, because I would love to have the portability and the lack of wires with something that can decode Dolby signals, DTS signals. Maybe make a version that has an HDMI input or possibly even just an optical input, kind of like the Sonos Ray, where you have the option to plug it into your TV if you so choose, but you can also take it with you wherever you go. Because not having to worry about plugging it into an outlet and just having to recharge the system every 5 days, 6 days or so, I would honestly be okay with that. So I'm not exactly sure about the technology on how to get Dolby support or DTS support in a product that is completely wireless, that has a rechargeable battery, as opposed to the speakers constantly needing to be plugged into a wall outlet. Take something like the JBL Bar 9.1. I know that supports Dolby, and that does have detachable surround speakers, which then recharge when you reattach them to the main bar. So if we could take that technology, but also make the main bar rechargeable, then I think you would have a killer system on your hands. Again, in that scenario, you probably have to have it connected via HDMI, but I do know there is technology out there that exists, like with WiSA, like with their Monaco 5.1.2 system. It's the SoundSend puck that connects to your TV via HDMI, but the actual sound that comes out of the speakers is all wireless, and it supports Dolby Atmos. But also, for example, I know that DTS Play-Fi now supports Dolby Atmos surround, and that's all wireless too. But like with WiSA systems and DTS Play-Fi systems, all of those speakers have to be plugged into a wall outlet at all times. So this HT-AX7 gives me hope that those different forms of technology can somehow combine in the future to make a completely wireless, rechargeable surround sound system. But just like Sony tends to do, this portable surround sound system is $499 for a speaker system that only supports Bluetooth and not HDMI or optical or Dolby or DTS. That's pretty expensive. But at the same time, that's honestly what you get. As soon as you slap a portable capability on anything, the price just goes up. That's why laptops are typically more expensive than desktop computers, because you can take it wherever you go and you're not tied down to a desk. So I would honestly say that the final verdict on this HT-AX7 portable Bluetooth surround sound system, I would say, is pretty darn good. For what it's worth, it is able to separate surround elements from the main elements coming out of the main speaker pretty darn good. It's not perfect, but again, anything is better than your TV speakers or phone speakers or laptop speakers or tablet speakers. You know what I'm saying? So I know with people actually interested in a product like this, it's going to be a pretty small portion of those who are into home audio or would like to improve their audio situation. But this does make me very excited for the future. Wireless technology is getting better by the minute. And if this is any indicator, we are very close to some sort of home audio wireless revolution. So, cheers to the future, Sony. You always seem to be on the forefront of innovation and just coming up with ideas that nobody else is really thinking about. So kudos to that. Thank you for joining me on this review of the Sony HT-AX7 wireless portable surround sound system. Now it's your turn. What do you think about this weird but kind of cool system? Do you think you'll want one for your next little vacation? Because guaranteed your hotel room is not going to have surround sound. So this is a nice, easy, portable way to get surround sound, even on the go. Are you also excited for the future of wireless technology with home audio? Let's start a conversation, people. As always, please be kind to each other out there. Don't just watch TV and movies. Experience them on your phone, your laptop, your mobile device, your iPad, whatever, with the HT-AX7. And of course, always be listening.